Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Russell Osgothorpe.
Hi. So good to see you. Hello, everybody. Hi. Hi. Guys, it's great to be with you. Thanks for coming to nerd out with me a little bit. This is going to be fun, okay? Because now I'm talking to my people. Because if you're here, it's because you like this stuff. It's not that you're like forced to listen to it. So I'm really, really glad that things went as well as they did this morning, but together Dr. Nicole Stevens and I want to make this afternoon 10 times more fun. So we've been working together on a piece of research that we've supervised on lavender, and we want to show you that research in detail and how doTerra's strategy can transform everything about the essential oil industry. In 2019, I said adulteration is criminal. I'm going to just help you to understand why. Folks, we put these things into and on our bodies. We breathe them into our lungs. If you don't know what's in the bottle, you are taking a gamble on your family's health that you really should not take. Other forms of adulteration in the essential oil industry are rampant. This form of adulteration decreases their effectiveness and impacts how the essential oils benefit our lives. We're thrilled to unveil this multi-year campaign to empower you to reach the hearts and minds of everyone, the pessimists that I spoke of today. We're going to go out into the world and use pessimists' definitions, their own tools, in helping to validate essential oils for you, our wellness advocates. Thank you. This method is going to be the method that revolutionizes essential oils and its industry moving forward. It will establish doTerra, like I said this morning, as the gold standard for purity and consistency. I can't wait to talk to you about consistency. But it will do so using clinical trials that demonstrate the effectiveness of our oils in comparison to both a placebo and more traditional medications. In short, we're going to change the world together. So, this morning I said that doTerra is pharmaceutical grade. Let me tell you what that means, okay? Anytime you take a medication prescribed by a physician, it has if somebody gave you 20 milligrams of something, that 20 milligrams can vary as much as 5%. It will be labeled as 20, but it can vary by 1 or 2 milligrams on either side of that, okay? That's just a manufacturing standard that we've set for drugs in medicine. doTerra is pharmaceutical grade. That means that in this article, what you're seeing on the screens in front of you is the article that was published out of the University of Mississippi's School of Pharmacy with the National Center of Natural Product Research, Ichilus Khan's group, that was here at convention a couple of years ago. And this article is a game changer for us. This is published in a pharmaceutical journal. It's not published in an essential oil journal. This is published in a journal from my field, and we're taking our field to them. So let's dive into this data a little bit. So first, highlighted in green here, when we say doTerra is pure, what do we mean? So in this article, what they looked at was the quality of an essential oil, of lavender essential oil. And they defined it using something that is novel. It's called the quality index. It's a mathematical, very careful scientific evaluation of an essential oil using GCMS, NMR, and other scientific techniques. They plug these pieces of data from every essential oil into this formula and come out with a score that scores that oil on whether it is high quality or low quality, adulterated or not. And on the left, in the green, what you see are all of doTerra's essential oils. This is the table from the article itself. And every single score on that doTerra side of that graph is above 100. That means that every single lavender we made was high quality and pure, okay? On the next side of the screen are all the commercial lavenders that we could get our hands on, 32 of them. So we took 32 commercially available lavenders that are labeled for internal use, and we looked at all of those lavenders using these same scientific techniques of GCMS and NMR and several others. and then we put them through this quality index score. What happened when we did that is we found that 2/3 of this list were crap. They did not really resemble lavender essential oil. They were either synthetic, they were cut with vegetable oils, their potency was dramatically decreased by so doing. And when I said this morning that you don't know what you're doing with the industry out there, this is what I mean. 2/3 of the time, when you buy somebody else's lavender, you have no idea what you're getting. Secondly, just because 1/3 of the lavenders out there might on that particular batch be good, we know how essential oils are sourced at doTerra. We know that you could buy on one particular batch a high quality lavender, and then that middleman will sell you back another lavender the next time you need lavender that will be cut. It will be adulterated. It will be synthetic. That's how this industry works. That's what doTerra has cleaned up, okay? And you guys need to understand that this isn't us saying this. This is published in peer-reviewed scientific literature in a pharmaceutical journal, okay? This is not marketing, this is data. Now you can choose to use this data, and I sure hope you do. I sure hope you understand it, because you can take data and you can use it to market. And you should, because that's how this works, to convince others who struggle to understand what it is that you already know. So we said this morning that doTerra lavenders are consistent. So what does that mean? Let me show you what I mean by consistency. This is another table from the exact same article, and it lists every single chemical compound in lavender essential oil, all the way down. There are 39 of them? I can't remember the number of them. There are a lot of them, okay? And every single one of those compounds plays a role in the effect of the oil in our body. The two main chemical constituents of lavender are linalool and linalool acetate, highlighted for you here. When you look at those oils, at this table, there's a couple of things I want you to understand. Do you see the column labeled ISO? This is the international standard for lavender. So when a company tries to sell lavender, they have to have a certain percentage of linalool and linalool acetate. And if you look at that column, you can see that for linalool, it's 20 to 45%. I'm pausing for dramatic effect. That's crazy, crazy wide, right? Really, really wide. So that means that we can have crap, or we can have something that's great, and the standards for lavender say that we call crap and great the same thing. And that's stupid, right? We all know that that doesn't make any sense at all. And so what we're saying here is that when you look at our lavenders, each one of those lavenders across that screen is a doTerra lavender. Look at how much we vary. For linalool and linalool acetate, which make up over 60% of lavender essential oil, are these two chemical compounds. Linalool acetate is broken down into linalool in our bodies. So essentially, linalool is the big deal, right? When I say pharmaceutical grade, what I mean is that we vary by a very small percentage when we talk about standard deviation. I said to you this morning, and I want to make sure that you understand this, I had Dr. Prabodh Satyal go back 4 years and look at every single batch of lavender that we have sold and produced. I had him look at the linalool and linalool acetate concentrations, percentages in every batch, and then tell me the standard deviation. The standard deviation is the difference on either side of that mean. And for linalool, it was 1.23%. For linalool acetate, it was 1.91%. So when I say pharmaceutical grade, that's what I mean for lavender. It is able to be totally consistent over 4 years and 133 batches of lavender. In the past, the essential oil industry, even before I knew what an essential oil was, In the past, the essential oil industry thought that this was impossible. But Nelson Mandela said that it's only impossible until it's done. And we've done it, and nobody else has, and you have to understand it, because this is how we do what Verify Markets says we're going to do. People need to know that they can trust and rely on consistency and purity. And if you can teach to this, you can help people to grow. Okay, third, human clinical trial. So this is the data that I didn't show you from NCNPR, and this is pre-published stuff. We're in the midst of writing this paper for submission. What this data shows is we're looking at, with our partners at the University of Mississippi School of Pharmacy and NCNPR, it just rolls off the tongue, National Center for Natural Product Research. Say it with me, I'm just kidding. So what we did first is we validated a scientific method to use a very sensitive triple quad GCMS instrument to pick up very minuscule amounts of linalool that make it into our bloodstream after we ingest a capsule of lavender. That has never been done before. The scientific method is validated, and we'll be publishing that method. Using clinical trials then next, we took 40 different people and split them up into multiple groups, randomizing them to get either lavender essential oil, linalool, pure but synthetic, linalool and linalool acetate, pure but synthetic, and another compound which I cannot talk to you about. And then what we did is we compared the blood levels at different time points. So what you see here is in that green spike of a graph, over 24 hours on the x-axis and concentration on the y-axis, what you see is immediately after taking an ingested dose of lavender, the linalool concentration in our bloodstream spikes to what we call the concentration maximum, or Cmax. And then it falls over a period of time until it reaches zero out at around 20 hours or so. This is data that has never before been seen. We showed you something like this in one person, in a clinical trial of one. This is a clinical trial that included 40 human beings. That's why we've got error bars on all of those data points. And this is really strong pharmacokinetic evidence on how we dose lavender and why we use lavender the way that we do. Also, with this trial, we did a safety trial monitoring every single side effect that people felt or every single symptom that they felt. Some of them weren't side effects. They were just like, I had the lavender burps, right? All right, let me see. So, this is this data blown up. There's a couple things that you see here. Do you remember when I told you this morning that lavender essential oil was absorbed at almost 2 times the amount into the bloodstream as was the synthetic compound linalool? This is the data that allows me to say that. So what we can see from this data is several things. One, we see that the whole essential oil is way more important than its constituent chemical compounds. I've had Dr. Hill tell me that, and as a medical scientist, I looked at him and I went, prove it. And do you know what he did to me? You prove it. And so he goes, that's what we hired you for, dummy. And so I then said, right. And we've done the clinical trial. This is the clinical trial that shows that nature is better than synthetic. Nature gets into the bloodstream better than synthetic. Nature is more powerful than that which is synthetic. Okay? This is a summary table of this clinical trial. What you see here is the Cmax of lavender essential oil was 143 on average in our participants, and in linalool was 85. So this is where I'm talking to you about how much more lavender is able to be absorbed. The area under the curve is how much lavender stays with us and how long it stays with us, basically its impact on the human body. And if you look at the half-life, which I didn't highlight on that graph, that's T1/2 in hours. The half-life of lavender essential oil in the bloodstream is about 3 hours. So now doTerra knows something that nobody else knows. Now, many of you who are really quick and scientifically minded will say, well, now everybody else knows it. And I will say, oh, heck no. Because they don't have a product that they can't compare and say that this is apples and apples. Anybody out there who says, and markets their oils like Dr. Hill said, and says, we're just like doTerra, this data here and on the previous graphs says they're lying. Okay? And sadly, in this industry, that seems to be allowed. We are going to rise above that. We're not calling them out. You notice that I didn't put any names of companies on there, even though I could have. And that's because we're going to let science do the talking. Data will do the talking. We're not going to do anything. We're not getting in the mud. We're just trying to raise the bar on the whole industry. Thank you. This is the third major takeaway that I want you to understand. doTerra has always said that natural is better than synthetic. This is evidence that you now have in your hands to say why, and data-based, okay? Dr. Nicole Stevens will be following me later this afternoon and talking to you about studies 4 and 5 in greater detail, but we're also developing a new delivery method, and we're not going to talk to you about it, but we're going to wave our hands about it, and you're going to understand a little bit more what next year will look like. I want to end here by helping you guys to understand that purity, consistency, dosing, delivery, and efficacy will be the pathway that we take, not just with lavender, but with multiple essential oils, hopefully every year. The more we succeed together, the faster we can do this. It's resources and it's time. It's relationships. And we've spent 2 years here at doTerra building those relationships with the University of Mississippi, National Center for Natural Product Research, St. Elizabeth's, and others, who are going to move this research forward with us as our partners. I look forward to making you a part of that process and join us in this process and helping everybody to understand it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Director of Clinical Research, Dr. Nicole Stevens.
How much do we love Dr. Osgothorpe? For real! He is one of my absolute favorite people, and I gotta tell you, it's just one more reason why I say I've got the best job in all the world. Because he is amazing. I get to sit and learn, and his vision is really, I think, going to help drive us forward. Are you guys excited? You just saw things that have never been done before. This is scientific history in the making. And here we are. I am so excited, and I'm so glad to be with you today. So Dr. Hill this morning, Dr. Osgothorpe this morning, and Dr. Osgothorpe just now have teed up for us some very exciting things that we get to share. It's the vision for where doTerra is going with our scientific research, with the validation that we can now give to you and that you can give to those skeptics in your life, right? I loved Dr. Osgothorpe's talk this morning, the skeptics. I have them too. Believe it or not, people still come talk to me and say, prove it. So I'm glad we can. Okay, so the 3 things we just have been talking about kind of all day, keep them in your mind, okay? doTerra oil is purest. I love that pharmaceutical grade. Right? This is what we've known, the ethos and the pathos for a long time. Now we've got the logic, the logos behind it. Consistency. Consistency is key. We are not out to strip away the complexity of essential oils, right? This is an important thing to keep in mind. A lot of scientists like to take things apart and study just one piece and see how it works. We did that too, to be honest. We're scientists with the single linalool in our clinical trial. But then we wanted to see the whole. We wanted to see how it worked together. And, no surprise, that complex mixture of essential oil chemicals worked better together than a single piece ripped out. We want to maintain that. But we also have the consistency to be able to use this in medical and medicinal models. So consistency. And then dosing being determined for the first time through these pharmacokinetic trials. Pharmacokinetics. We introduced this a few years ago for the first time. Is anyone like, yeah, pharmacokinetics, I totally get it. Yeah! Awesome. And everyone else is like, oh, I don't know about that. I'll tell you what. Let's go over really quick, just to review, and especially if you're new and you've never heard this gigantic word before, which, by the way, it's kind of like supercalifragilistic. If you say it, you sound really, really smart. So you should say it together. Ready? Pharmacokinetics. Yes. And together with immunomodulation, that some of you learned yesterday, people will be like, you go back to school, or what's going on here? I'm telling you, try it. It's really fun. Okay. Pharmacokinetics, though, just for a really brief review, because it's kind of important to this whole 5-step process, the design that Dr. Osgothorpe's talking about. I want you to think about pharmacokinetics using a very simple mnemonic called ADME, A-D-M-E, ADME. And that stands for absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. Okay, those are really just kind of the basic steps of pharmacokinetics that we're studying. And, you know, it's pretty much what's happening to you, inside you, with you, every day of your lives. With food, with oils, it's happening right now. You've probably absorbed your lunch, right? Some of you, you take it into your body. And your stomach, you absorb your nutrients. Where is it distributed in your body? Well, it goes in your bloodstream, it goes to your organs. How is it metabolized in your body? Well, you got your liver working, and you got your pancreas making some chemicals for you. Things are happening. Then you've got your excretion that's happening. You got to get rid of that all somehow, and then the whole process starts over. Well, do you know that no one has ever really looked at this for essential oils? This is brand new. We didn't know what happened to those essential oil molecules inside your body. And now we do. Now we do. At least the first step, right? We got a lot of oils. We got a lot of amazing doTerra oils to study. So the case study we've been talking about, lavender, one of our most important ones, arguably, that's a good place to start. But then the question becomes, now what? Okay, so Dr. Osgothorpe talked about the first 3 of our 5 studies. That's our consistency with the chemometrics, and the dosing, and the purity. Okay, we got those 3 pieces laid. Now, I'm going to talk to you for just a few minutes about steps 4 and 5. And this, to me, this is where it gets really real and really new. And I tell you what, I've been doing essential oil research for about 22 years now. Started back before essential oils were even really a thing. They were kind of in this little dusty box on the back of my advisor's desk when I was doing my master's degree. And he said, nobody really knows what these are. So they've just been sitting here for a couple of years. Do you want them? I said, sure. This was even before we had doTerra oils, right? So I was messing around with these oils in the lab, and I thought, this is different, but there's something here. Nobody knew what they were yet. I didn't even know what they were yet. 22 years later, and after having worked with doTerra oils since they were born, I can tell you we have laid the foundation for something amazing. And as Dr. Hill said, we can now do what no one else can do because we've been where no one else has been. We've laid the foundation that is ready for the big stuff. So are you ready for the big stuff? Study 4 in our 5-step process. What if we were now to envision ways to deliver our essential oils in ways that have not been done before? Right? That's exciting. We love to take our oil and veggie caps and put it under our tongues and put it on our skin. These are all awesome ways to get oils into and onto our bodies. We see their benefits. We use them. We enjoy them. What if we could now harness that even a little bit further? What if we could have our cells get more benefit out of the essential oils? What if they could be more powerful? Is that even possible? Well, we think it is. Study 4 is about just that. We are researching a novel delivery system that is intended to take essential oils even deeper and further into the body, let them be more absorbable, more usable. Now, here's the sad part. I can't tell you what it is yet. I know, sorry. Don't boo me off the stage. But the good news is we are doing this study right now. It is at our lab. It is being done. We are so excited about it. The data that are coming out are going to, I think, change the whole face of the way we think about essential oils and what they're doing. So, thank you. One person's like, yeah, nerding out here. What this is going to look like, this study 4, is going to be a pharmacokinetic trial, very much like the one that we have just completed on the regular veggie cap of lavender and linalool and all these things, except it's going to be with our new delivery product. It's going to involve blood samples, so we can check the distribution and we can check the absorption, and then we're going to look at these two things side by side. What we hope to find is that this new system is really the supercharged version of the essential oil inside of your body. Are you guys ready for that? That's going to be amazing, right? Now, this is not just for kicks, for fun. This will be driving both our research efforts, our product development efforts, certainly our publication and validation efforts. And that is going to lead us into the big one. And Dr. Osgothorpe mentioned this in very briefly this morning. We are looking to do a large-scale, long-term, phase 3, huge clinical trial with this new delivery system. And I'm telling you what, this is one of these kind of career-making things. I'm standing up here kind of shaking because I'm so excited and nerding out. This is a study that we want to do with a renowned university where they have Nobel laureates and MacArthur Fellowship winners. They get billions of dollars in grant money. And guess what? They came to us. They did. They saw these publications, they see what we're doing, and we had one of the professors at this university say, have you guys ever thought of doing a trial like this and this and this? We've got this great research engine. Can we do it with you? Yeah? Uh-huh. That's what we're looking at with this efficacy trial. That's what we are planning and hoping for all the efficacy trials that we have lined up. And we have universities and professors and doctors and hospitals who are lining up with us to do these trials. Now, why is that? They wouldn't do it if we hadn't done all of this work, both in the sourcing of these pure essential oils and the foundational scientific research that we're doing with these essential oils. We've done the work. You have done the work. Right? We are now ready to become this scientific powerhouse that is attracting the attention of hospitals and doctors and leading researchers and minds around the world. So I just had to say, this is really where I think it's going to get even more exciting. If you're a science nerd like me and you've been geeking out to this point, just wait, because we got good stuff coming. So, where does that leave us? Not only are we kind of on this precipice of studies that have never been done and things that have never been discovered or even conceived to this point, it opens up the door for amazing other ventures too. How many people know what epigenetics are? This is one of the things near and dear to my heart. Do you realize that once we now understand what essential oils are and what they do and how they behave in the human body, it starts to open up things like, okay, now let's get clear down to a cellular level and let's see what's happening in DNA. and in protein, real time. I've said this before, but good research honestly opens up more questions than it answers. We wouldn't have it any other way, because we're looking at what we've got in doTerra essential oils, their purity and their consistency and the data that's starting to come out, and we're saying this is life-changing. This is life-changing. So let me bring this home for you. Oops, let's go back one. A couple things. Okay, so I know science isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I'm so glad you're here. Look at you guys. I appreciate you. And for those of you who are just loving every second of the science, awesome. Keep talking to people because we have a lot of science to share. But if it's not your thing, take away a few things from all of this awesome science. Number one, doTerra oils really are the difference. You cannot do this with drugstore 99-cent essential oils. It will not work, okay? Our oils, the consistency, the purity, the pharmaceutical grade, this is the only way that we can play with the big dogs in the medical space. Number two, there we go. Validation right now for you. You saw that publication that Dr. Osgothorpe showed. That is one of many. I don't know if you know, but on the search annals of the scientific journals right now, there are dozens of papers of this foundational research that's been published with doTerra essential oils. We have papers on protein pathways. We have papers on DNA interactions. We have all kinds of data for you to be able to use, and I hope you do. And if you're not quite sure how to access that, come find us over in the leadership experience or the other experiences, because we can talk to you about that. These papers are amazing to have in your hand and show people that there is research on essential oils. Not just for now, though. We have this vision for the future. And we want you to be able to feel confident that moving forward, we have a very clear path. It is a very rigorous, scientific path of exploration of these essential oils that will give you the confidence, the power, the validation that you need to be able to share and talk to anyone. And be like, hey, I would stake my doTerra oils against anything out there because we know it's just better. We know that it works. Okay, so I just want to close by saying we can't do this without you either. Your experience and your passion are really what drive us. They're really what help us know the ways to start looking at the essential oils, for one thing. Like, we hear how people are using oils, we start to want to look into that and validate that also. We are so excited to be able to do this with you, to be your partners, to be your, go hand in hand with you on this journey. I hope you're as excited as we are, because this is all new and exciting. And we have so much more to come. So like Dr. Osgothorpe said, like Dr. Hill said, I invite you to come with us, to bring your passion and to bring your knowledge and your joy, and come with us on this journey, because we have so much more to come. Thank you so much. Have a great convention.